Welcome back to Speed Minglers and to 21st Century Dating Decoded podcast listeners. I'm your host, Dawn, and this is the podcast that replaces outdated dating scripts with genuine connection and topics. Today, we're diving into the decline of the romantic comedy. We invite you to consider a subject with a potentially huge, yet often overlooked impact on modern dating, the romantic comedy. Remember the golden age when every screen romance promised a climactic resolution? The dramatic airport dash, the perfect rain-soaked kiss, the effortlessly witty banter? We were culturally trained to expect idealized love, yet these emotionally resonant romantic comedies are becoming increasingly rare. This leads us to the core question we'll address. Has the scarcity of the classic romantic comedy fundamentally changed how we approach dating and relationships in the real world? Are we holding onto unrealistic expectations, or conversely, settling for too little because the on-screen romantic archetypes have diminished? In this episode, we will systematically examine the profound cultural impact of the romantic comedy genre, the stark contrast between cinematic romantic expectations and the reality of modern dating, whether the rom-com drought is driving us to chase unattainable perfection or, paradoxically, lowering our general romantic standards. We urge you to consider this. Are you seeking a partner or a co-star for your personal narrative? Prepare for a candid and comprehensive discussion about the allure and the inherent complications of trying to bring movie-style romance into the 21st century. Stay tuned. After a brief pause, we will formally begin. The rom-com drought. Is it affecting our love lives? This is an episode you don't want to miss. Has the decline of romantic comedies impacted dating? Once a ubiquitous presence in popular culture, the romantic comedy genre, often affectionately known as the rom-com, appears to be undergoing a significant decline. For many decades, these films and television shows served as a cultural touchstone, offering a sometimes fantastical, yet often deeply relatable, portrayal of dating, the intoxicating thrill of new love, and the intricate dance of relationships. They frequently set a perhaps unattainable, but nevertheless compelling standard for what many came to believe was the ideal courtship. However, as the production and prevalence of these beloved films continue to diminish, a profound question arises. Is the absence of a steady stream of rom-coms contributing to a noticeable and perhaps troubling shift in how single individuals approach the fundamental aspects of relationships and dating in the modern world? Romantic comedies have always transcended mere entertainment. They have functioned as powerful cultural artifacts, subtly and overtly shaping perceptions of love, the nervous excitement of first dates, and the often arduous pursuit of a compatible partner. From the charming serendipity of meet-cutes to the grand, often over-the-top romantic gestures, these films provided a pervasive narrative blueprint. This blueprint influenced everything from the subtle art of flirting to the deeply ingrained expectations we hold for our romantic lives. Movies often provide a script for how we understand social interactions, explains Dr. Person, a distinguished sociologist specializing in media and relationships. When a genre as influential as the rom-com fades from prominence, that script becomes less accessible, potentially leaving a significant void in how people conceptualize and navigate the complexities of dating. This void, Dr. Person suggests, can lead to confusion, uncertainty, and a lack of shared understanding about the unwritten rules and societal norms of romance. The vanishing act of the rom-com. Over the course of the past decade, the number of romantic comedies released both in mainstream theaters and across a multitude of streaming platforms has dwindled dramatically. While there are sporadic instances of breakout successes that capture public attention, the consistent, almost automatic stream of new rom-coms that once reliably dominated the box office and television schedules is now largely a relic of the past. This noticeable shift can be attributed to a confluence of factors, including the evolving and diversifying tastes of contemporary audiences, a pronounced industry-wide focus on other genres that are perceived as more profitable or critically acclaimed, and perhaps a growing perception within the creative community of a lack of originality or fresh storytelling within the traditional rom-com framework. Studios may also be wary of investing in a genre that sometimes struggles to find a global audience compared to action blockbusters or superhero franchises. A new landscape for single individuals, particularly those who came of age consuming a steady and often comforting diet of romantic comedies. The current dating landscape can feel profoundly disorienting. The meticulously curated, often highly idealized scenarios presented in iconic films such as When Harry Met Sally or Notting Hill offered a comforting, if sometimes unrealistic, framework for navigating the inherent complexities of meeting new people and forming meaningful connections. These narratives, despite their occasional flights of fancy, provided a common language and a shared set of expectations. Without these widely understood cultural narratives, singles may increasingly find themselves without a clear, universally recognized cultural reference point, potentially leading to increased uncertainty, heightened anxiety, or even a sense of apathy towards the prospect of dating altogether. The absence of these light-hearted, hopeful narratives can make the often vulnerable experience of seeking a partner feel even more daunting. It's not that people are inherently incapable of forming successful relationships without the guidance or inspiration of movies, acknowledges relationship therapist person. However, rom-coms often provided a vital sense of hope, optimism, and a much-needed light-hearted approach to what can frequently be a very vulnerable, emotionally taxing, and sometimes disappointing experience. Their ongoing absence might very well contribute to a more cynical, cautious, or even jaded view of dating among those actively seeking connection. This caution can manifest as a reluctance to take risks, a heightened sense of skepticism about romantic intentions, or an unwillingness to invest emotionally without guaranteed outcomes. The rise of reality and the decline of idealism. In stark contrast to the diminishing presence of scripted romantic comedies, reality dating shows, and various forms of documentary-style explorations of relationships have experienced a significant surge in popularity and cultural traction. While these genres certainly offer a different, often more raw kind of insight into the intricacies of human connection, they frequently emphasize the drama, the often unflattering conflicts, and, at times, the superficiality inherent in modern dating. This often stands in stark contrast to the aspirational, heartwarming, and frequently idealized narratives that were the hallmark of traditional rom-coms. This pronounced cultural shift, from the comforting embrace of idealized romance to the often messy, unpredictable, and sometimes brutal reality portrayed on screen, might be profoundly influencing how singles approach potential partners. It could be making them more wary, more prone to cynicism, or perhaps less inclined to fully invest in the traditional chase or the grand romantic gestures once celebrated in film. What's next for love and dating? The future trajectory of dating, in a world increasingly devoid of a consistent stream of new romantic comedies, is still very much in flux, continuously unfolding and adapting. While the undeniable decline of this once dominant genre may have indeed contributed to a less idealized, more grounded, and perhaps even more cynical view of love and relationships, it simultaneously opens a potentially exciting door for the emergence of more authentic, diverse, and representative portrayals of human connection. Perhaps this significant cultural shift actively encourages singles to forge their own unique paths, to define love and connection on their own intrinsic terms, rather than solely through the often limiting lens of a meticulously crafted Hollywood script. As the complex and ever-evolving dating landscape continues its transformation, it remains an open question whether a new, influential genre will eventually emerge to adequately fill the cultural and emotional void left by the disappearing rom-com. Alternatively, it is equally plausible that singles will simply continue to navigate the often complex labyrinth of love and attraction with a fresh, unscripted, and perhaps more resilient perspective, drawing upon their own experiences and the increasingly diverse narratives found across other forms of media. The absence of the rom-com may, in the long run, foster a more individualistic and self-defined approach to romance. We've reached the end of a truly engaging discussion. The rom-com drought. Is it affecting our love lives? We've explored how the decline of the classic romantic comedy, those feel-good, formulaic, yet deeply satisfying films, might be shaping our expectations and even our experiences in the modern dating landscape. Here are the key takeaways from today's episode. The blueprint is fading. The traditional rom-com gave us a clear, albeit unrealistic, blueprint for love. The meet-cute, the dramatic obstacle, the grand gesture, and the inevitable happy ending. Without this consistent cultural touchstone, daters today might feel a lack of narrative structure, leading to confusion about what successful dating looks like. The rise of realism and cynicism. The content that has replaced rom-coms, think complex dramas, dark comedies, and reality dating shows, tends to focus on the messiness, the heartbreak, and the difficulty of relationships. While this offers a more realistic view, it might also contribute to a cynical approach, making daters more guarded and less willing to embrace the fun and vulnerability that dating requires. The pressure of the grand gesture. We discussed the grand gesture gap. Rom-coms taught us to expect big, movie-worthy moments. This has translated into a modern pressure to constantly optimize the dating experience, rather than appreciating the small, genuine moments. Remember, real connection is built on consistency, not a cinematic climax. A call for authorship. Ultimately, the rom-com drought isn't a disaster, it's an opportunity. It means we have to become the authors of our own love stories. Instead of waiting for a perfectly scripted meet-cute, we have the freedom to define our own happy, messy, and unique relationship paths. So, is the rom-com drought affecting our love lives? Yes, it's shifting our cultural expectations, but it's not dictating our destiny. It's simply challenging us to be more intentional, honest, and resilient in our pursuit of connection. Thank you for tuning in to 21st Century Dating Decoded. Don't forget to check out our blog post on this topic, where we list some of our favorite modern, relationship-focused content that avoids the traditional rom-com tropes. Join us next time when we'll be diving into navigating red flags and ghosting in the digital age. Until then, keep decoding and keep mingling. P.S. Don't forget to visit thespeedmingle.com for a list of upcoming events in your area or online.